welcome from beautiful North Bali. This project is born very, very spontaneously. It was a moment of realization in our friend and companion, Francis Evans. He said, we need to do something for relationships on this new moon today, 2nd March. A great happening is occurring in the sky where Mars, Venus, and Pluto meet, a conjunction that is once in a lifetime. If you understand a little bit about astrology, you might understand the significance of that. If you don't, Francis will go into this in a moment. But I want to make sure I just have everybody comfortable. We gather since 7 months already as a group, having, had a ritual on every new moon between Bali, New Zealand, the UK, and other places in the world, where we would celebrate the new moon, embrace the significance of the happenings of, the new moon initiations that occur every single month for every single person on this planet, and the way we put them out. So we had beautiful blessings from Bali, and we had all this happening. But the awareness is here for us, for teachers, healers, coaches, astrologers, whatever you call us. We have decided only 7 or 10 days ago to bring this program into manifestation. So this is almost like a gathering of exploration, but we do what we are doing best in holding a very strong inner circle of love, compassion, and ultimately of transformation, and the ability to make space for our inner processes and voice them and be, activated in them in these hours we spend together every month. So I want to introduce now Francis Evans, who I know since many years. We are friends, companions, colleagues, and soul, camaradados in New Zealand for almost, I would say, 25 years. I know him, and he has been incredibly, impactful in my evolution as a coach and as a healer, because we have done in the past projects together. He also facilitated with me here in Bali a love coach retreat, which we did late 2019, just before COVID-19 hit. A warm welcome to you all. And we have the astrological positioning of the new moon in 12 degrees in Pisces today. So with that said, I pass on to our astrologer and mystic, Francis Evans. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Okay. Great to have everybody, so many people here for this inaugural event. So I want to start because Adriane named this Quantum Soulmates, and I think it's a really amazing name for it, but very few people really understand the nature of the quantum fields. And, we have seen a lot of things that are sort of coincidences happening, over time. People have these coincidental events. So one of the coincidences that happened after we decided to do this particular full moon, new moon ceremony or gathering, was they released a 9-video series called Changing of the Gods. And this video series is made again about a book that a PhD psychologist and scientist wrote about the way in which astrology affects, or rather the astrological archetypes affect history. So he has been going through how astrology actually affects the world. What is it that does this? However, we could call it the quantum fields, and the quantum fields are nested. So the great unification, the great oneness of all things happens before the first quantum field. Now, the first quantum field, you could say, is the cosmos. And there have been this new telescope that's out there has taken some pictures of the cosmos, and you look at it and it's like a field of lights, and it looks as though these lights are many millions or billions of stars, but actually they are whole galaxies. This is trillions of stars, and there's enough stars for every person, every human who has ever lived to have one of their own. That's how many stars that are out there. That's the big quantum field. And then it comes down, the next nested quantum field is in the galaxy. And then we come to the solar system, and the quantum field and the archetypes of the solar system are known collectively by the term astrology. And so the astrological planets are really the archetypes that affect everything. So if we sort of look at this, we start to see that everything is about timing. So if we just on a average basis, you have one heartbeat about every second. And there are 60 heartbeat seconds in a minute. And there are 60 minutes in what we call the changing of the hours. And there are 12 hours in the daytime, and there are 12 hours in the nighttime. All of these things, affect us. If we don't get enough sleep, we're affected. If we are doing too much during the day, or we're sleeping during the day, we're affected. So we already know that the timing of the cycle of the Earth spinning around affects us as it turns from midnight through to midday and back to midnight again. And at the same time, there's another cycle going on, which is the lunar cycle of approximately 28 odd days. And so once a month, the moon turns around, and every so often, once in that cycle, the moon and the sun come together. That's the end of a cycle, the death of the old cycle, the beginning of the new cycle. The new moon is a new beginning, and it's the end. It's an end point. So you've got the lunar cycle going around, and then the next cycle goes around is the pathway of the Earth around the sun. So it takes a whole year. So we go through these phases where from winter, where the ending of all things and the beginning of a new cycle. Right? So everything begins on these cycles, and the beginning of the cycle is the spring equinox. Yeah. So when the sun is over the equator, in the northern hemisphere, we say that's the beginning of the new year. This is the beginning of life. Life is beginning to stir, and the lambs are beginning to have, to come in and be born. The flowers and the crocuses and the daffodils are coming up, and life is beginning to break through the old darkness. Yeah. So then we go to the next one, and the next cycle really, is the cycle that Mercury gives us, and then there's the cycle that Venus gives us, because it goes round, but it never goes very far from the sun, because these planets are closer to the sun than the Earth is. Now, Venus is the planet that talks about femininity, and it talks about values, and it talks about possessions. So we're going to put these archetypes of the Venus quality, this sort of sparkling quality, yeah, is out there when you look out at it. And so on the other side of planet Earth is Mars, the masculine side. And when you look at it, these two are called the personal planets. They are close to Earth. They actually meet. Their boundaries meet on planet Earth. So we have the values that are imposed by, if you like, by these particular archetypes. And then you go out again. Now, you go out twice as far as normal, because there is a thing called the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, who no one really knows what that really means. Yeah, it is probably the breakup of a whole planet that was destroyed somehow in some vast period of time. The next planet then is Jupiter, and Jupiter is this planet of extravagance and expansion and endless growth. And its compatriot Saturn is the planet that signifies the boundaries that hold things together. Right? So when we see Jupiter and Saturn conjunct, which is what we did, we saw what happens when something tries to expand beyond the boundaries. Right? And one of those things that's happened is playing out right now, which is what is happening in Ukraine, with the attempt to go beyond the limitations and the boundaries. And when somebody crashes your boundaries, what happens is you get agitated and you start fighting. So we're having fighting going on over boundaries. Then beyond that is you have Uranus. Uranus is the planet of revolution, and we've had a huge square between Pluto and Uranus for the last 3 or 4 years, and you can see on the planet Earth revolutions happening everywhere. There's all sorts of breakdown of the system. Neptune follows. Now, the thing about Uranus has a cycle of 84 years. So it is the cycle of a lifetime. And in that lifetime, you have 3 goes at life, 3 of the Saturn cycles that are about your growing patterns, how you grow, from childhood, through to the beginnings of adulthood. Then the period where you consolidate that, and then the period when you start to complete it. So that's the 84 years. Neptune comes next. Neptune is an archetype that talks about the philosophies and the religions that have bounded and given meaning to human life. And then you come to Pluto. Pluto is the planet that breaks things down. Right? This is the planet of life and death, and what Freud called eros and thanatos. So life is erotic, and death is thanatotic. Death is the conclusive phase. When you come to the end of the cycle, it's gather up everything that you learned along the way and consolidate it, ready for the next beginning, the new beginning. And finally, we have Eris out in the very, very far distance. Eris has a life cycle of 557 odd years. And Eris really, we know very little about what the archetype will do, but Eris was the goddess who was excluded from the party, from the marriage party. So she goes along and throws her golden ball into the party and disrupts it. So this is the planet of disruptions and breakdown and chaos. And yet she is also the planet that signifies justice and divine retribution. Okay, so that's enough for us to begin now. I'm going to share a screen now. All right. So one of the things that I've always done is to say, because New Zealand is the first place on the planet to have the day, right? You know, in the age of instantaneous connection, it no longer is obvious to take Greenwich Mean Time as the astrology of the new day. So New Zealand has to be the beginning of a new day. Let's just let be in. All right, and so this is the beginning of a new day, and we can see, if we look at this point here, remember that we have left the age of Pisces, and we have arrived in the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is that you, Dee? Can you mute, please? So Aquarius is the new the Aquarian age is the age of significant and stable mind, right? So Pisces was the heart sign, and Aquarius is the mind sign. And we're coming to this point because Pluto ends things, right? Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. And so we have a once in thousands and thousands of years meeting when Venus and Mars meet, which they do every 3 and a bit years, I think it is, when they actually conjunct. But when they conjunct with on top of Pluto, exactly like this, will not have happened for thousands and thousands of years. Yeah, and it certainly would not have happened on the exact moment of a new moon. So we see the new moon in Pisces, 12 degrees, and here is Venus and Mars and Pluto at 27 degrees of Capricorn. So we're coming to the end of the phase of Capricorn. Capricorn is the old order, the old way of doing things, and it's significant in the chart for New Zealand and for the whole world, that this conjunction happens in the 11th house, which is the natural house of Aquarius. And as we can see, Aquarius is on the cusp of that natural house. It's at the very end of that natural house. So this is affecting the entire consciousness of the social contract. We're also seeing that Saturn and Mercury have a conjunction, pretty near exact, at the same time. Now, this is when, Mercury is the planet, the god, that he was the archetype that was able to go anywhere, to all the god realms, and he was so therefore the messenger of the gods. So he's, if you like, he's starting to talk and speak out about the new timings, how the new Aquarian age is going to come into being. So we have that one. We've got, as I said before, we've got the new moon sitting in Pisces. This is where the lunar cycle ends from the old lunar cycle and we begin a new one. And this new cycle contains all of these shifts. Now we also have a little bit wider, but it's starting to catch up, is Jupiter close to Neptune in Pisces. Now Jupiter used to be the old ruler of Pisces. So this is the old ruler of Pisces and the new ruler of Pisces coming together, and there will be a point before the next new moon when these two conjunct. So once again, we have this endless expansion. Jupiter has caused, but it's often seen as the beneficial planet, the archetype of great growth and everything should be growing. But when something grows beyond its boundaries, beyond its structure and its limit, we call that Cancer. So this we have been in an old consuming system that has virtually consumed planet Earth, because there has been no boundaries to it. Now, here's the interesting thing: is that Saturn, which rules Capricorn in terms of the financial system, the governmental systems and so forth, now moves into Aquarius. But it also rules Aquarius, but it rules Aquarius in a far different way. It sets the boundaries to freedom. It says this is how much freedom you can possibly have before you start damaging yourself and everybody else. So we're sitting in this, if you like, this moment in time, and when we look at the whole thing, we start to see, there is a coming together of a new cycle between the personal planets, Mars, Venus, masculine, feminine, heart and mind. And so we're starting to come to a transformative position. And if we look around the world, we can see the world is in disarray. The world is effectively fighting over resources. So Venus is the planet that signifies values and resources, desires, what you have and what you want. And so when these two come together in this position, we are starting to see there is a war going on, a war for territory, a war for possessions, a war that leaves everyone broken. And you know, in the personal way, this is leaving behind the idea that there is not enough to go around, but actually there is plenty for everyone if everyone had access to it all. But they don't. It's been stolen and taken by the few. So we are sitting on the edge of a massive breakdown in society. And that's signified because we can see this Venus, Mars, Pluto is squaring to Eris in Libra. Now, Eris is the strange goddess who is she takes no prisoners on the battlefield. So, you know, this comes about is about ultimate spiritual justice. So one of the other things that comes about in this nature of these connections between Pisces and Aquarius, the heart and the mind, is the coming together finally of spirituality and science. You know, so the very nature of quantum physics is actually a description of what has always been the nature that is seen as spirituality. So we're starting to see that in truth, yes, we are all dreaming. We live in this quantum field, which is an algorithm, which is essentially a dream that we are having to wake up from. So we're sitting at this point and we are now having to look at what is it to have a soul? What is a soul mate? How can you have a soul mate unless you have discovered your soulmatehood? You have transformed yourself. And one of the things that comes around it from the whole nature of this discussion with Venus and Mars was presented in the same sort of consequential way when Adriane posted her interview or discussion with John Gray just recently, because he is clear about a lot of things, that there is a difference between men and women. There is a difference between the Venus quality and the Martian quality. So we really should also look at who is Venus, and what does Venus, the planet, really look like? Well, Venus, the planet, is a very, very dangerous place to go anywhere near, because its atmosphere is boiling sulfuric acid. So we can't send anything into it with it lasting very long. Mars, on the other hand, has lost its atmosphere. It doesn't have one anymore. You know, so these are very different, you know, places. Although we could go to Mars and we could have a colony on Mars. Mars rules the sign of Aries. Aries, it was the god not of war. Aries was the god of agriculture. But like all good farmers, when someone comes aggressively to take your land, then you will defend it. So this is about protection. Mars is the archetype of protecting the family. So there's a very big difference when we see it this way.
Francis, thank you so far. This is so interesting. And as Francis just described, we have this incredible division in so many people's heart and minds about what they want in their lives overall, what they want in their love lives, how happy or unhappy they are in relationships. And I think a big question that came up in our discussion shaping this event and trying to begin to create structure around 1 year being a team of seekers to have better and more fulfilling lives and relationships. What really was evident for us that this whole aspect of what does it mean nowadays to be a man and what does it mean to be a woman? I think the concepts around that are very different for any single one of us, and yet they're all valid. So this relationship between Mars, Venus, and Pluto is incredibly powerful, and particularly the Pluto aspect, because the Pluto is almost like, you know, the destroyer to everything we know, but yet, you know, the Pluto has also this amazing ability to bring us into a depth of feelings and internal, you know, eroticism and sexual depth that is beyond our mind and heart. And for those of us who have had very Plutonian relationships, either because you have a Scorpio, you know, in your chart, or it's this whole idea of Plutonian energy in our lives. And when we have relationships that are very, very guided by that and significantly influenced by that, we usually know that. I mean, nowadays we talk about twin flame relationship. That's probably a very, very good example. A lot of people in the love and dating scene talk and, you know, find your twin flame. Now, finding the twin flame is something we need to be ready for, because it means good. Finding a soulmate is quite different, because soulmateship is much more a balancing creation between the heart and the mind, and already some understanding what the parameters are in a relationship. So in all of my processes over the last 6 months, we created keywords. And after this, I will hand back to Francis, because we have become really good in having these conversations as you know, colleagues in the space of helping each other to understand the quality of the new moon we are experiencing right now. So the first keyword that really came to mind in preparing for today for me is the word zeitgeist. I think I'm German, so zeitgeist is a very, very particular word in my language, but I think it has become quite a universal word for understanding that zeitgeist means that something is about to happen that never happened before. And I think we are very ready for this appearance of a new consciousness that allows us to be in relationship with one another like never before. And that doesn't mean that we have to separate from our partners and go different ways or look for something completely new. But we can use what already is there as concepts and intention and ideas and begin to solidify it. Solidifying energy around Capricorn, and Capricorn being, you know, the planet where being the sign where Mars, Venus, and Pluto sit right now, means that a lot of good things we have already shaped want to become much, much more clearer and set into context and contrast to what really exists really for us in truth, but also into a grounding situation that helps us to feel good about our lives and to feel certain and cared for with one another. I think the feminine and masculine principle is very unhealed, because, you know, we women always point a finger on the guys and say, you know, they're the ones, you know, we do everything right, you know, if they would show up, you know. But the truth is that we women maybe have too high expectations and too big wishes and too much going on that actually limits our capacity of having good relationship with the masculine in a healthy way. To explore this is a year's journey that we really want to do together, and to shape our unique unions, whether this is 5-dimensional unions we create with, past or, present or future partners that exist in our soul realm. I think a lot of healing of old relationship is often necessary to manifest new relationships. Lots of relationships are happening already in the 5th-dimensional realm and are very fulfilling and soulful, but they are not yet manifested in the 3D. I can speak for myself. I'm going through a phase where I do know that in the 5D, I have a very, very strong understanding what the frequency is of what I want to experience spiritually and energetically in being in a soulmateship with another person. But it has not manifested itself yet. I do all the inner work all the time to prepare myself for that. And this is the wonderful work we are doing together here. For 1 year, every new moon, we are planning to come together and scan our relationship capacity, see what still needs to be healed from the past, where we are right now, and set new intentions for the next 4 or 5 weeks to come till we meet again 1 month later at new moon and shape a new reality. If I look back when I started Bless Pray Love 7 months ago, pretty much on the day, I think it was 6th of August when we started. I was still in New Zealand. We had lockdown, and I had just a dream because I wanted to be in Bali and teaching from here and having my groups back in Bali. And I couldn't do it. And I decided we are doing it online. And guess what? It evolved as a beautiful mixture of contributions from everybody coming on these calls from all over the world. And now we are realizing that the core part of what we really want to focus on from now on is our capacity to be in healthy union with, with the other gender, with the opposite gender, but also within our own inner self, to love us, to heal us, and to be really clear about the intentions, particularly you guys, how you relate to purpose. What is it really, how you can make a difference in a very, confused and fractured world. And we women, we need to be space holders for families, for children. We need to nurture, we need to be capable of being there to hold our hearts open, even if it's completely, war zone around us. How can we do this? And doing it as a team, doing it as a group, doing it as a collective, in a sphere, in a quantum space of healing, transformation, and support. That's what we are doing together. So a little homework I want to just give you while you're maybe already processing your own thoughts while Francis and myself speak. In preparation to coming back next month, it will be an Aries new moon. We're starting our first part of 12 parts for 2022 into 2023. And do a relationship spot. Look at your strengths, your personal strengths within yourself, and your capacity to hold relationships close. See your weaknesses. Look where you are weak and frail and maybe not as confident. Look at the opportunities you have in your life from a place of what have I not done yet and could do better? What's out there for me? What never has been really, really realized for me? And how can I do it? And ask for support. Here is a team of people so powerful. You have us all together in one circle, and we cover almost every area of healing or transformation necessary to make the quantum leap for yourself. And finally, see the threats. The art of a good SWOT analysis is, in business, to turn around the weaknesses and threats into strengths and opportunities. That's ultimately what it is. So my job as a coach, as a love coach, as a quantum love coach for this next 12 months will be, and I'm sure my colleagues will sign up for the same, to help that you all have this experience of turning your weaknesses and threats into something amazing. and make it your life. So I want to just touch very briefly on quantum intimacy. But I think before I do that, I want to just hand the mic over to Francis. Francis, maybe you just contextually just answer what comes up for you while I'm sharing this.
This is the most stunning thing, because, you know, we are beginning on this journey of 12 months. Pluto goes into Aquarius on the 24th of March next year. That's 12 months and a few more days from now, right? And in that 12 months, we will have a new moon in each of the signs as we go around, starting with the first sign of Aries. So it's an unfolding. The nature of astrology is unfolding. You know, the first aspect of any unfolding is the will. Aries is about will, and one has to buy in and say, I'm ready. If I'm not ready, don't buy in, because then what will happen is events will come along to motivate you, or to challenge you, or to force you along the pathway of a new unfolding. You don't get the choices when you start and you make this your journey, my journey. And one of the real interesting things is that Aquarius brings in unification, unity across the planet with technology. It is the sign of electricity and the whole nature of sharp shocks. We are beginning and going into a time of shocking nature, you know. And one of the shocks that happens is when men discover what it is to be a man and give up this practice of looking for a feminine in them, and women begin to find out what it is to be a woman and give up this nature of needing to have some sort of masculine drive, blah, blah, all the rest of it. And there's an interesting correlation of this in the planets. Is from planet Earth, Venus seems to be spinning in the opposite direction to every other planet. You know? So from it isn't really, of course, from the sun, from the position of the sun, it's going around and spinning in exactly the way that everything else is. But because of the fact that its day is shorter than its year, it appears to go in the opposite direction. And these planets are really archetypes of the deep unconscious, the unconscious psyche, which Jung called it the collective unconscious, and that is where all of these energies reside. So we will have, you know, the input from both Louise and Craig to tap into what is happening in the collective unconscious and how that might be used to transform, you know, the difficulties that each individual that joins us on this journey actually brings to the surface. Because if we are living in this dream, if we do not perceive the dream as it actually is, if we live in a delusion, and we have been living in a delusion for 2,000 years, that is, the age of Pisces is an age of delusions. And out of that have come all of these religious artifacts that have left everyone with these deep disrespects for one another. You know, we have handed our autonomy to churches and priests and governments and presidents and all the rest of it. And now we have to take that back. We have to awaken to the reality that we have created this mess for ourselves. And because we created it, we can uncreate it. So this is a journey that will not happen again. Right? It will not, because over that year period, Pluto will move forward, will end its time transforming the old order, the old world order, and the financial system and the organizational systems, and they will all come to their conclusion at the changing of the guard, if you like, when Pluto goes into Aquarius. Now, I'm going to add something in history here, because what happened in history this year, Pluto arrives at the same degree of Capricorn that it was at when America signed the Declaration of Independence. So the Declaration, the founding document of the United States of America, was signed in a few, I think it's in a couple of months when it arrives now. But what they didn't tell you is 2 years later, when Pluto went into Aquarius, US started the War of Independence. So there is a big difference between, you know, signing this great document that was going to hand everything to, and everybody had a Bill of Rights and freedoms, and then the next minute we have a war to take over, and that's one of the things. So we're going to see a big transformation. Handing it back, Adriane.
Thank you. So I think we have spoken a lot about the astrological, background and the impact. Really coming back to the relationship aspect of our work together. I birthed the concept of quantum intimacy quite early in my journey as a love coach, around 2011, 2012. And what really is given here as a body of work that has deep background is the ability to not just do healing in our own lives, but also do quantum healing on an, etherical and ancestral level. So I live with the understanding as a coach that what a client presents to me is to be uncovered in listening to the story from conception to their own pregnancy, to the time before their birth and their moment of birth. And that certain childhood impressions between 0 and 6, 6 and 12, and 12 and 18 shape enormously what is going on in our life right now. If this stays unhealed and undiscovered and uncovered, then we have continuously the same issues around our ability to visualize the good life and having even the ability to conceptualize what really is happening for us and why we are doing what we are doing and how we could change it. There are issues maybe around commitment. There are issues around changing, our, relationships for the better, or changing habits, thoughts, ideas. So this is all part of the big quantum intimacy transformation. Now, I have recorded years ago a very beautiful interview with Dr. Bruce Lipton, which is now available for purchase, actually as your own document to own. So maybe Jilan, if you want to put the link into the chat box. it's a really beautiful piece that helps together with the interview Francis mentioned I had with John Gray just recently on the 16th of February about Mars, Venus, the brain and love. And ultimately it ended up a call, him speaking lots and lots about the disillusion of seeing men and women still not doing the work right, and how well we could actually change it to the better. And I could go much, much more into what quantum intimacy is. But one thing I want to say right now is that it's a big part of the 12 months. It will be every month, a particular segment will be processed by us all together, and gives an incredible opportunity for sharing ideas and experiences from the past, from the present, and also how we visualize our future. And being intentional together as a group is very, very, very powerful, particularly in around this 2 or 3 healers of this level of potential we have with us here in the team. All right. So I just want to pass now my talking stick over to Greg Lyle, and maybe you want to share a little bit about your background and what made you come here, and how you contribute to the whole process, and what you intend to do for everybody in the next 12 months. Thank you.
So just blessed to be connecting with the 4 of you. We've been doing this for quite some time now, as Adriane said. It started off when she was here, and her and I sort of spoke about this, you know, quite some time ago, and here we are 6 or 7 months down the line in a different format. It's just quite amazing how we're drawn together. And I know this is quantum soulmates, and it's almost like the 4 of us in a way are soulmates as well. So soulmates doesn't necessarily, we think of a soulmate as someone who's our divine partner. You know, that someone, we think of a soulmate as a person we're going to spend the rest of our lives with. And of course, that's not really necessarily true. I've realized that there are so many soulmates in our lives, souls that we've connected. But of course, this particular journey that we're on at the moment for this 12 months is kind of around perhaps that one soulmate that may be that special person is going to be there for a long time. So most of you probably know me, but I'll just explain what I do and how I fit into things. Yeah. So I'm I suppose what you call a quantum energy healer. I'm a Reiki master, medical intuitive, psychic surgeon, a psychic medium, and a medium. So also I'm able to speak to people that have passed away. So my energy that I'll bring into this is kind of different to Francis's, in that Francis is telling me what the stars are doing. And every time we do this, every month we do this, and Francis is giving how the stars are lining up, I'm just laughing and writing down. So that's exactly what my guides are telling me. So I don't follow the astrology, but I get those messages in a different way. So my input is kind of an intuitive, energetic, healing side of things. We're all on a healing journey, and of course we're all. It's as Francis said, it's actually about us, the journey of our soul. It's not about the journey of us in this lifetime. It's about us being one of those stars, of the trillions of stars that he spoke about that we actually are. And we're just here at this point in this dream, as he says at the moment. So what I look at doing, and a certain number of you have had healings from me. So I'm able to do healing sort of physically, on a personal, emotionally, spiritually. So I'm blessed to kind of be able to see into the past and things, and connect to things from a person's past. I can connect to people from their past, people that have passed away. And I'm also blessed with a gift of, I use the word terminology, prophecy, where I get messages and things of things that are coming in the future as well. And as I say, I find it really interesting, because often I will have had some prophecies, and then Francis talks about how these things are lining up. And a lot of the prophecies that I've had 5, 6 years ago are starting to come about now. As Francis has spoken about, this is kind of a new cycle, you know, and with endless growth. That's a really interesting terminology for Francis to use, because this, we realize within ourselves, within that quantum energy that's within us, that we actually have endless opportunities. If we use our imagination, and we're not stuck in our 3rd dimensional reality world, and we use our imagination as kids do, we realize that there's sort of nothing that we can't have and see and do. And that includes bringing our soulmate, and I use it one person, although as I said, there are a number of soulmates that may come into our lives, but that one soulmate person that we may be with at this time already, or be looking to bring that into our lives at this time. You know, Francis spoke about cycles of 200 something years and whatever, in 10,000 years sometimes, and 3,000 years and whatever, of how these cycles are. And sometimes these cycles of these people, these souls that come back into our life, can have been from 2,000 years ago in a cycle, and they're coming back around. So it's really just quite fascinating to see how the stars align with this stuff and how it connects with the messages that I'm getting from my guides. And of course, you know, Adriane and I have worked together for quite some time, and Adriane obviously has vast amount of knowledge in these things from a spiritual point of view, astrological and all areas. So the four of us on this particular journey are looking at helping in each way that we can, and mine will be more of a, as I say, a healing, energetic way, and going into a healing space where we can actually travel in time and our minds into what we want to attract, what we need, see it, bring it back, know it's coming, set those intentions, and know that they'll be there. Just like Francis knows those stars are going to line in another 200 years, that's how they're going to be. He knows that. In the same way, I've learned through my healing that things in our lives in that same pattern as well, those things are there. And if we can just get into that quantum energetic field, and that's what I do through my healing, is just connect you to that energetic self of yourself, that you can see what you're capable of doing. And, you know, I've been very blessed to have had some really amazing healings. And lately I've been really quite busy and been doing a lot of healings with people, dogs, horses, all sorts of things. And I've just had the most amazing healings, and they just stun me. But it's made me realize that nothing is impossible, that we can bring that soulmate into our lives, even though we may have been on a journey feeling like it's not coming, is it going to happen in this lifetime, whatever it may be. That as we learn some of the stuff, we realize that nothing is impossible. And we can, that's the thing I love about Francis, is that imagination of just knowing that you can have anything that's in those stars. When you look at those 3 billion stars, you can pick whichever one you want and just bring it to yourself. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. And that's the beautiful part about this work that we're doing here, is that we can connect with each other and bring whatever we want to each other. We can actually live in, as Francis is saying, we're in a dream world. We can create a dream world for ourselves as we want it, and not be stuck in some of the realities that seem like we're stuck in them. We can actually bring that dream world in however we want it to be. And that's what this journey is about, is bringing in for the next 12 months, is working at different levels. And for me, energetically healing us individually. We all need healing our hearts, healing our emotions, all those emotional sides of us, that we can be in the right place and space to bring in those beautiful things that are coming our way, that are written in the stars. So that's kind of what I do.
Oh, thank you, Greg. My suggestion is that anyone who has a particular healing request today, an intention for transformation in your life, in your love life, in your relationships, in your health even, there's all possibilities here. Put them in the chat. Let Greg know what your intention for healing is. He will specially address that. He is incredible. He will scan everybody on this call. And if he has messages for you, he will transmit them after the healing. So,
okay, Francis, you wanted to say something else?
I wanted to say, because it appears like what I do is astrology, and that's something. But one of the things that I really, in this 12 months, I think is really important, is I work and have worked with dreams. People have dreams, and a lot of people don't quite get what their unconscious is speaking to. You know, what does this all mean? What are the symbolic nature of dreams? So there are the internal dreams, and then there is the external dream. You know, we have events that happen, things that happen to us, and they are all symbolic. They all have a message that is coming to us. And so when we're looking for, what is it that blocks my my connection with a partner, with a soul, with someone who is going to tread this path with me, then events will come up, and those events show the nature of the challenges. They aren't things that happen to people. People like to be victims of their own creations, rather than the creations are messages. These are the keys out of the dilemma. And if we do not gain the insight of the key, then we will be forever circling, creating again and again and again the same old, same old, same old. So if you have a repetitive pattern, then it's time to meet it head on and to extract from it what it's trying to communicate. So I do a lot of work with this. I've done a lot of, if you like, spiritual work for the last 50 odd years. So I've had a lot of experience in psychotherapy and various counseling forms. So we are bringing together a group with enormous potentials and skill sets. So, whatever turns up, and of course, because everyone is in their own unique place, wherever they are on the planet, then what you're doing in this space, in this year, is being responsible. So the new words for the new Aquarian age is responsibility, accountability, and transparency. And if you try to stay hidden, if you want to hide everything, then you will be, then your accounts will show that.
Okay. All right. So what I also wanted to say, you don't, if you want to send a message to me about what you'd like some healing on, that's fine. But what I can tell you, this is a quantum energy thing, and you don't need to tell me if you have something specific and you'd like me to look at it specifically. But what we need to bear in mind, you can just think whatever's going on with you. I will pick it up, not necessarily in my third dimensional self. My spiritual self will pick up each of you. And Adriane knows I've done a group at healing festivals with 50, 60, 80 people in a group, and done healing for all of them at the same time. And a large number of them have come and said they had healing. So you don't need to tell me what's going on with you. When I first sort of realized I had this gift and started to do that, I used to try and find that out about people to sort of prove to them that I knew stuff about them that I shouldn't know. But I realized now it doesn't matter. I can those thoughts can come telepathically to me, to my spirit, to my spiritual self. And we are multidimensional beings. So I can be with all of you at the same time. It doesn't matter. Not in my third dimensional self, but in my spiritual self. So whatever's on your mind, whatever you think about, whatever you need, I will just connect to your spiritual self. If you feel you'd like to put something in the comments specific, if you've got pain somewhere, you'd like to release it or something you want to, that's fine. But as I say, it doesn't matter. This is quantum energy. We connect to things and things come about and the healing happens irrespective. But if there's something specific you want to bring up in a third dimensional sense, that's fine. But either way, it doesn't matter. My guides will get to your guides, will get to whatever needs to happen for you. So the other thing is, one thing that Francis brought up was that timing is everything. And that's just so important. With these times we're in now, I think we all know these are really, really changing times. Timing is everything. And at the moment, there's things going on that are really, really creating a lot of change. And we're here at the perfect timing. So this is, I say, a new cycle and endless growth, which is just amazing. So that's we're going to connect to your collective unconsciousness and our collective consciousness. And to all those stars, we're going to connect to that and connect to our higher selves, to our guides, ancestors, whatever may be there to help us. All right. Okay, so And Pluto, as Francis was saying, is now coming to a death, and there's a rebirth. And this is a really, really important time. And those 2 years is quite interesting. I think Francis and I have spoken about it before, because I've spoken about the change that I know is coming in the world, and that it's going to come in New Zealand fairly soon. And there's quite a lot of turmoil and change all around the world at the moment, where things are changing and people are looking at things differently. And then there'll be another 2 years from there, as Francis has said, whether it will before there'll be like another kind of change, so we can expect some changes now with these stars that are aligning now. And then in 2 years' time, probably another change of some sort again to head towards the right direction. So what I want you guys to do is just take 3 deep breaths. Just as you're sitting there, just in your own time, take in a nice deep breath, either through the nose, let it out through your mouth, and just feel yourself relax. Feel yourself just relax, feel that tension just ease out of your body. Just run down your neck and your shoulders and just feel that tension just release out of your body, and just like water just running over your body, feel it run down your chest and down your back and your torso and down into your hips. And just feel it just drain away from you, down your legs into your knees, down your calves and your thighs and down into your feet. As you take that deep breath and let it out, just feel yourself nice and relaxed. And we're just going to connect to a quantum energy. I'm going to connect to your guides, to my guides, our various guides that I work with. Native American Standing Bear, some of you may feel and sense. He's my main guide. I'd probably refer to him as my angel that sits with me, my guardian angel. I have an Aboriginal guide, a number of other guides. But your guides may be there with you. The Christ consciousness may be with you. Just feel spirit there with you, ancestors. And as we just sit in this beautiful space, we're just wanting to connect specifically tonight to heal ourselves from those things that might be holding us back. And as these stars align for this great change, for the death of some of that stuff that holds us back, we're just going to feel it release from our bodies and feel a rebirth of us coming into this world as a new person, a completely new person. Feel that rebirth. Feel like you're coming in almost for the first time, like you're seeing yourself in a completely different light. These are beautiful, beautiful times. And as Francis said, these stars have aligned for massive, massive shifts at the moment. And it's so important for us for these next 12 months to connect to our soulmates. And some of those soulmates, I'd like to say the long and the short of it, is that some soulmates may be in your life for a short time, and some may be there for a long time. Some soulmates come in to teach us lessons, and they may just come and go. We may have had some of those soulmates that have come into our lives already and taught us some of those lessons. We just want to give thanks for them. Even though some of them may have seemed to have been harsh lessons, ones that we may not have wanted to have learned or were painful, we just need to give thanks to those soulmates who came in at that time to give us those lessons, those soulmate lessons, those lessons for our souls. And that can be parents that may have been abusive in whatever way. There can be all sorts of different soulmates that have come into our lives to assist us. The focus of this healing we're going to do tonight is about bringing in that one soulmate into our lives, who would be what we generally consider to be our soulmate, that person that's with us, and to love us unconditionally. And that unconditional love, to receive unconditional love, you have to have unconditional love for yourself, and you have to have unconditional love for others. Once you have unconditional love for yourself, you find it so much easier to have unconditional love for others. Because as you learn, as Adriane was saying, through your SWOT, as you learn what your strengths are, and as you learn what your weaknesses are, you find the opportunities, some of which have helped you to grow, some of which have taught you compassion, some of which have taught you humility. And there are just so many opportunities out there for us in every possible respect. And then the last one on the SWOT, what are threats? And those threats often come from us, from within ourselves, things that we see as a threat. There's actually no such thing as a threat to us. Once we get to have unconditional love for ourselves and for everybody on this planet Earth, then nothing can threaten us. And so we need to let go of all those things that we feel are threatening. Bring them up, see what they are, and just let them go. I'm now going to go into healing and just sit in a quiet space and time. And I'll just connect to each one of you and just see what healings need for each of you. If I have any messages specifically for you, I'll have them. But you can go on this journey and just feel that quantum energy. Feel yourself connect to those stars, those trillions of stars that are out there. And know that this entire universe revolves around you. You are the most important person in this entire universe. All those trillions of stars and every person and everything in this universe, you are the most important person in this universe. To you, there's no one more important than you. And that applies to each one of us. And when we get to realize that we are important ourselves, that this is a journey for us, but also that we are connected to every other person here, and to every other star, and to those trillions of stars, that we're actually connected to all of it, that it's all part of us. Then we get to realize just how beautiful we are, and that we can dream whatever dream we want and bring that into reality. Just reach for the stars and they will come down to connect with you through quantum energy and bring you what you need and bring your soulmate to you. That can be a process, maybe a time, and it may be different for each of us. Some may already be in a relationship with our soulmate. A shift needs to come within that relationship, whatever it may be, for that to be its fullness. Some of us may still be expecting our soulmate, and that could come soon, could come this year, next year, a few years, who knows. Time is irrelevant when it's part of your stars that are aligned in a certain way. Just allow that time to unfold. Enjoy the beautiful gifts that you have at this time and the learning that you have, that when that person comes into your life, that you're in the perfect place, space, time, and have unconditional love for yourself and all of humanity from Mother Earth. And you can then enjoy the beautifulness of that soulmate. So I leave you just to sit quietly within yourself and feel this energy coming from my guides, coming from Spirit, from Source. Just feel this quantum energy vibrating through your body, and I just feel it just pulsing now. Just feel it pulsing in and out of your body. Just feel that energy coming to you. And just close your mind and open up your heart. And allow the healing to flow to you, to heal you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Just allow the healing to wash over your body and cleanse you. You come out the other side of here, you'll just feel lighter, uplifted, knowing who you are, knowing where you're going, and knowing that these soulmates are part of your journey and that they will connect and line up with you when the time is right, just as the stars do, as Francis has spoken about. They're in a cycle and they'll line up just when they need to. And just know that that's coming. Just feel the beautiful love from this group, all of us within here coming to you. We all just want absolutely the very best for each and every one of you, for ourselves, and for each one of you. We just want you to have the best possible life that you can, and just joy and peace and happiness. Even those times that seem like they're difficult times, we know that those are the growth points for us. Sometimes the pain is what brings about the ecstasy. It's the pain and the suffering that makes us stronger, that makes us more resilient, that makes us enjoy those small things in life and appreciate them. So take each thing as it comes and take it with joy in your heart, knowing that even if it's a lesson that you have to learn and sometimes a hard one, just feel the joy of knowing that that is bringing you to a better place and a space where you're going to connect with your soulmate and have unconditional love. And that's what we're all looking for. So just sit in the space and feel the energy heal you. So as you sit in the space, just feel that vibration, that energetic vibration just coming into your body. Just feel it increasing the vibration. Just feel that energy just coming into you. Just sending energy from the stars into your energetic field, and just feel that vibration and the increasing of your vibration and raising your vibration to a high level. Just feel that beautifulness of spirit come into your body, into your energetic field. Balance all your energy centers, all your chakras. Just balance everything for you. Just feel the beautifulness of those guides and angels that have been here with you through this healing. Heal what's needed to be healed for you. Feel the lightness of it. Feel like that loads come off your shoulders. Just feel the lightness. And then in knowing that everything is going to come to you as it needs to. Just feel the joy of every moment. And this walk in this life that you have here at the moment, this beautiful journey that we're on. Just feel the calmness within your heart, the love within your heart. As you feel that calm and a loving for yourself, you can only draw love to yourself. Just feel that beautiful energy. Feel it bathe over your entire body. Now I'm just going to start coming back. So when you're ready, you can just start to feel yourself come back into the space where you're in. Just really come back into your body where you are. So thanks for the guides. Wiggle your toes. Do whatever you need to just come back to the space that you're in now. Just feel yourself come back into the room and where we are here. Okay. All right. So for me, that was a really amazing healing. I just felt a lot of energy going to all of you.
So we had this gorgeous healing. Because this healing was around finding love and manifesting love. I do know quite a few on the call are actually in relationships and in committed relationships. The healing still was very potent for everybody, as you heard. And I just want to make sure that for those of you who want a little gift from my end, there is an ebook I have prepared for clients who are looking for love, and also the opportunity to have a discovery session with me. So you are invited to spend a year with us, 12 months. You know, Francis and Greg have really shared it very explicitly, what this would mean. My contribution as space holder, host and love coach is really helping to get the strategies and the answers to making it all real, whereby all the quantum healing is coming from our beautiful healers and from Francis as a mystic. Now, however, saying this, I am a visionary intuitive, and I use a lot cards. So I had 4 cards coming up. I just bring them very quickly. We have the Moonology deck, and 4 cards came up today for the meeting. Adjustments are required. Hold your vision. Confidence is your key to success, and that's a very Aries point to mention. And a new start is coming, and I think that leads us really to the start of 1st of April meeting again. It will be 7 p.m. New Zealand time. It's a Friday night. So what we are trying to create is a 1-year program every new moon, and depending on the calendar, you know, the Bali or the international new moon calendar, will choose a night that has the strongest frequency for our meetings, because Balinese are always a little earlier than the rest of the world, because they do the new moon earlier, celebrate. They basically use the energy of the coming new moon for the intentions rather than after the new moon. So we really offer you a space for astrological sharing, quantum healing and channeling, monthly design and intentions. And we want to be a relationship and love mastermind. I really want to create a space where we are discussing things very, very explicitly and deep. And I might ask someone who has been with us before to give a short testimonial how this actually could look like. And the benefits really are breakout in Q&As, individual healing, gender intelligence. And when I say this, we want to have also sessions where we take for a few minutes all men in the group into a discussion and all women, or having discussions around particular aspects of relationships over the 12 months, something that is close to our heart, that gives us some inspiration and some real, learning, I guess. That's the big word. The registration and the tickets will be, so you have the invitation to join us for $199 per year. We really try to keep it cost effective. This is not something for us to make money, but we want to have some administration costs met. So you can either book per session for $25. We will have a database and every month send out these invitations. Every one of us four is willing to give special time to you to explore individual ways of being supported. That can be through my love coaching, can be through little healing sessions as a bonus. When you come on board, particularly for the 1 year sign up, you have our support or little astrological sessions, and certainly we'll give you some discounts to our usual rates. And we are going still through very, very important times. Globally, particularly New Zealand is in another big crisis, where financially things go a little bit different simply because the virus is just spiking so hard right now. So we all acknowledge this, but we're here for this and want to really share it. And this is the link. So you have it in the box. I would love Rose, dearest Rose, if you pick up the mic for 2 minutes and just share with us your impressions of having been with us quite a few times, and you knowing Greg so well because you work with Greg in another healing group as well. So just give us a little bit of feedback, what you have gained and benefited from being with us over the last little while.
So what I would say about my experience with the group is that I've felt very supported and received a lot of healing. And I've had the pleasure of meeting all of you through Craig. Well, Craig came to our group of 40 meeting here in Auckland, in Farm Cove. And this is where we meet because our group of 40 is, that group does meditations with the Arcturians. And this is how we've met. But through this connection, I've met all of you wonderful people, I have to say. And what I find is, this is kind of healing that we need. We need to have people, for example, what Craig's doing, that is necessary for people at the moment, more on a one-to-one, basis where he meets people. You don't have to tell him any of your problems. He will just work with you and he will figure it out and he will give you some answers. When I was sitting here now and doing the meditation, there's so much energy all around us, even before we started doing the meditation, which tells me that there's such good collective energy with the group. So that is amazing. I've also felt very encouraged. I, like Louise, speaks and teaches light language. I do too. But I didn't know I could teach it. And through this group, I've actually been empowered to do that. And that really is wonderful. I'm really into astrology myself. And I have to say, there's been a lot of benefit with Francis's astrological knowledge. And quite often, I mean, when astrologers speak, you think, oh my gosh, they've got so much to say. What does it all mean? But, you get the gist of it and you go with it and you realize, you awaken to the fact that you know, we're not just here doing our life with the things that we see. The planets are affecting us, the moon, the sun, the stars, all of that's affecting us. And so I've learned a lot from that. Adriane, I have to say about Adriane is that she's created this platform where we all can come together and have these experiences of different talents, but also bring us all together from different parts of the world, which I really appreciate. And what I really love is all the stuff that Dewi does, because it's really saying, you know what, if you have karma, if you have any kinks in your vibration, you can actually clear it through this medium. There isn't another group that does this that I know of. So everybody else, this is the amazing experience one can have. I like the freedom of this. I like that we get to share. And so I've benefited from that. I've really started to come into my own, because I started to feel braver to talk about the things I do. And, the meditations are awesome. The healing is awesome. So, yeah, and it was very nice the last few months that we were talking about the divine feminine, and we're talking about the masculine, being out there, talking about our experiences, how we were born, what we think we experienced, our parents might have experienced. And, I've never really thought about it, that even being in the womb affects what I do out here and the rest of my life. So thank you so much, because that's my knowledge. I've learned so much of that. And I've connected with all you wonderful, lovely people. And I just know that there's like relationships for a lifetime now. It's about meeting your tribe, is it not? And yeah, so.
Oh, Rose, I'm so grateful. Thank you for picking up talking stick and sharing and being willing to reflect your experience. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very grateful to every single one of you for attending. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us from different places, from New Zealand, England, the United States, Bali. Paul is here with me. We're Bali Soga, so we feel really blessed. For those of you who watch this all on a replay, because this will be on YouTube tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon New Zealand time, and share it with others if you think it's valuable. So the link will be sent to you as a thank you letter after our gathering from the Eventbrite database. So the new link, I will update all the details tomorrow. So in the next couple of days, the new program for April will be ready. And we love your registrations. If you have questions, call out. And every single one of us is here for you to help you along the way. Have a wonderful, month. May this occurrence today of Mars, Venus, and Pluto bring not just deep things, but also amazingly expensive things up. That's my wish. So if anybody, Greg, Francis, if you want to say some last words, I hand over to you, and then we close. Thank you.
I just want to say this, just looking at the new moon for next month, we're going to be talking about service in regards to relationships. All of the planets are lined up saying, how can I serve the other? Just hoping that will encourage someone. Putting the stick back down, and good night.
So we're in these challenging times and whatever. But as I've said so many times during these 6 months and whatever, Francis has got how the stars aligned, and there's a number of prophecies and things that I've had, other people have had, indigenous tribes all around the world and whatever. This peace and love is coming. This joy of having our soulmates and whatever, it's all coming. It seems like we're in turbulent times, but I just want to give you peace and joy, knowing that we're heading to the light. It's a beautiful, beautiful time for us, and just love to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here at this time.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks to all of you. All the details are in the description box if you see the replay. Otherwise, we'll see you on the 1st of April, Friday night, 7 p.m. New Zealand time. And look forward to an amazing kickstart of new moon in Aries, probably 12 degrees like it was all the month before. And lots of explorations, and I'm really, really happy to share more about quantum intimacy and how it actually adds to the process. So thank you, everyone. Good night.